Welcome back. I'm Pratap here. Today is 27th September 2023. So, in this video, let us generate supply and demand zone chain for Nifty 50 and Bank Nifty. So, let's start with Nifty 50. So, for Nifty 50, I'm generating demand and supply zone chain for all the time frames starting from monthly. In general, we consider monthly as a HTF zone, that is a higher time frame zone. So, as part of the top-down analysis, it gives us better understanding about the price movement. So, what kind of demand and supply zones we are having on monthly time frame? So, let's generate a supply demand zone chain. SDZ indicates supply demand zone. If you look into this report, look into the heading Nifty 50 monthly supply demand zone chain. And what is the candle, monthly candle? Monthly candle opened on 1st September 2023 because month always starts from the first month of that month. And what is the closing price? 19,716.45 on today. And what is HTF trend? For monthly time frame, what is the HTF? Yearly is the HTF. So, yearly trend is up. ITF for monthly time frame, what is the ITF? That is quarterly. For quarterly trend is also up. LTF, lower time frame. Lower time frame is always the time frame we selected. In this scenario, it is monthly. So monthly trend is also uptrend. So basically, the trend indicates it is a bullish at monthly time frame because time frame is very important. Okay. Then what else we need to look? The column zone is very, very important because most of the experienced people says they don't require all these reports because they trained their eyes in such a way it automatically recognizes all the zones on the chart. That is what many experienced demand and supply zone traders they tell. But what their eyes cannot identify is high liquidity zones. Because high liquidity zones are identified based on a high complex software algorithms. Whatever you train, but it is not easy to identify all high liquidity zones. Maybe you may find one or two high liquidity zones because of your experience, but you cannot identify every high liquidity zone because it needs a lot of analysis if we want to do manually. Probably it may take a week time to analyze all the high liquidity zones for Nifty 50, or it may take 1 month time for identifying all high liquidity zones for all the time frames. But for a computer system, it identifies all the high liquidity zones for all the time frames in just 2 or 3 seconds time. That is what the software is doing. Okay, what high liquidity zones are available? What is the nearest high liquidity zone? This is the first nearest high liquidity zone. There is one more high liquidity zone, the fourth one. And both these zones are fresh zones. What this high liquidity zone indicates, especially the C underscore DZ, if it is demand zone, or C underscore SZ if it is supply zone. That is the highest high liquidity zone. Among the high liquidity zones, I always give top ranking to C underscore DZ or C underscore SZ. So what this high liquidity zone generally does, suppose if Nifty is crashing, let us assume Nifty is crashing down. The time when price reaches to this high liquidity zone, what is this? Because this is a demand zone, what is the zone high? That is 12,025.45. And zone low, that is stop loss, that is 10,000. When price reaches into this zone holds the prices. That means whatever the market is crashing down, it stops that crash. And then while crashing, what happens? Generally, the trend is changed to downtrend. And what this high liquidity zone generally does, it pushes the price up because this is a demand zone. When price is pushed up, the trend also will be changed. Slowly it will change from downtrend to sideways and then sideways to uptrend. That means this C underscore DZ is having the ability to change the trend. And the second ability is it is whatever the crash is happening in the market, it stops the crash. And then slowly from there, it will change the market direction. That's why the C underscore DZ for demand zone or C underscore SZ, that is for supply zone, they are very important. I'm not saying these zones will not break. Maybe they break, but rarely it happens. But most of the time, these high liquidity zones, they does not allow market go down further. So in case if anything bad happens to market, definitely we can expect a turn in the market from 12,000 in case if it reaches to this level. But there is a possibility that the market may turn even before that because at lower time frames, that is below monthly, maybe at weekly or daily, there could be some high liquidity zones which may stop the crash and again push the market up. That we understand only when you look into the supply and demand chain at next level time frames, that is lower level time frames. Okay, this is the monthly. The most important zone is the third one. This is the one. What is the immediate available monthly demand zone? Immediate, the first one. But remember, this zone is already pierced. Look into the column pierced, and it is already tested twice, and it is having three rejections. One candle, monthly candle, is closed inside the zone, and once it is pierced. Probably the time when it pierced, it might have got support in the next demand zone because it is a LOTL, level on top of the level demand zone. Just below this, the second demand zone is there. See here, what is the zone high? 15,962. Here, 15,336. So almost 600 points from this zone high. If you consider from this zone low, it is 450. This is 336. So maybe around 120 points below this. So it is LOTL on monthly level. So hope you understand the importance of this supply and demand zone chain, but this is not enough. We should again look into the next time frame below this monthly, weekly. So, what is the current uh, available zones, immediately available zones, and what is the high liquidity zones? Okay, before getting into the weekly, let me tell you why it is so important. Sometimes your price might reach to this demand zone, and some doubts will come in your mind. Do I need to take this trade? Or price go below this? Or from here the direction will change? Such kind of doubts you might get in your mind. That is the time it is very difficult for us to take decision making. Okay, by looking into this zone, what is the general impression we get? This is a pierced zone, and it is already tested twice before it pierced. So there are higher chances of price going below this zone, the next zone. So again, you might get it out. Can I take a trade in this particular zone? It is already tested once. It is not a fresh zone, and this is not a high liquidity zones. So you might think, okay, let me wait until price comes to this particular demand zone because it is a high liquidity demand zone, and moreover, it is a fresh zone, and also it is the highest priority high liquidity zone. So by considering all these factors, you will change your decision making rather than taking trade in this zone or the next zone. I want to wait until price comes to this particular zone. This is my decision making based on the monthly demand zone. If I go back to lower time frames, my decision making might change. But remember, when you are taking trade in the monthly demand zone, probably you might be looking for long term trades, not a medium term or short term trades, right? That's why you would like to wait until price comes to this particular zone. That way, this supply demand zone chain will be helpful to us. So now we will go back to weekly time frame. One point we need to observe, monthly time frame, we don't have any supply zones, and this pierce demand zone is the immediate available monthly demand zone, and currently it is acting as a all-time high zone because there are no supply zones. The immediately available demand zone is called as a all-time high zone because the time frame is monthly. The time frame is monthly. It is a all-time high monthly demand zone, even though it is pierced. So let's go back and let me change the time frame to weekly. Now let us generate supply and demand zone chain for weekly time frame for Nifty 50. So weekly time frame is also uptrend. Now for weekly time frame, ITF is monthly, intermediate time frame is monthly, and HTF is quarterly. We have already seen in the previous time frame, quarterly is uptrend, monthly is uptrend. Now weekly is also uptrend. So that means Nifty 50 is looking bullish at all the higher time frames like quarterly, monthly, weekly. Okay. And one more point we need to observe, it doesn't have any supply zones. That means the immediate available monthly demand zone is acting as a all-time high demand zone. Is it a fresh zone? No, because it is already tested once. Is it pierced zone? No, because the pierced count is 0. It is a recently created monthly demand zone because the legout is on 4th September 2023. After that, it went to all-time high. Price again come back from all-time high. And this demand zone got tested and further again moved the price until this today's close, 19716. What is the zone high and zone low? Zone high, this is the entry, and zone low is the stop loss. So total risk involved in this zone is 2.19%. Okay, from zone high is the entry. Till today, how many points profit it has given? 645. This is 716. Around 70 points move happened since its last test on weekly demand zone. Okay. Now generally you want to depend or you are looking for only high liquidity zones. What is the next available high liquidity zone? This is the one. This is weekly high liquidity zone. And it is a fresh zone. So at what price it is there? 16,248. In case if Nifty is crashed and come up to 16,248, it may get support at weekly time frame because this is the high liquidity zone. Okay, now let's go back to daily time frame and let us see supply demand zone chain. I'm changing the time frame to daily. I'm generating the supply demand zone chain. Now if you look into daily, look into the daily trend. Now it is changed to sideways. Until weekly, it was uptrend in all the time frames above the daily time frame. So recently, daily trend is changed to sideways. That means on daily time frame, the direction is changed towards from uptrend. Now it moved to sideways. From sideways, again market may reverse and again it may go to the uptrend or the downtrend may continue by changing from sideways to downtrend. Anything will happen. But as of now, uptrend, the direction is changed to sideways. And who is the responsible for changing this trend? This supply zone is responsible. That's why it is a high liquidity supply zone. And it is a counter trend trading related supply zone. Is it a fresh test? I mean, fresh zone? Yes, because the number of tests are 0, rejections are 0. And close inside the zone is also 0. Of course, it is not pierced. And is it a good supply zone? Yes, because this is the one actually changed Nifty's uptrend to sideways. And moreover, see the strength of the zone. It created a leg out with a gap. So it is a pro gap. The zone is created a gap, so it's a pro gap, professional gap. and having only one base candle. And see the risk. Risk is also very minimal, 0.53% risk we are having. So that's why this could be a good supply zone. So how many supply zones so far it is having? Only one supply zone. Because till the weekly time frame, so far it has only all-time high demand zones. Now daily time frame, a new supply zone is created and which pushed the down. See from where? From 20,000 to 22 zone high. Now price is come down to 19,716. So how many points it's down for? The supply is pushed the price from here. Minus today's price. I'm comparing with only the today's. It even went below during the last week. So 506 points so far. That's why it's a powerful supply zone. Okay, what is the immediate demand zone? It is also high liquidity demand zone. And supply zone is also high liquidity supply zone. It is a counter trend related supply zone. It is a powerful one. Demand zone is also powerful. When both demand and supply zones are very powerful, what might happen? Maybe price may move between these two zones for some period. In case because due to any reason, if this supply zone breaks or violates, below this supply zone, there is one more high liquidity, the highest liquidity zone, highest priority liquidity zone, just below this. That is 18,722. Below that, there is one more high liquidity zone. That means these three zones definitely they supports the price. So definitely we cannot expect a crash in the market now. We have good high liquidity zones are available. It's not easy to break all the three zones. So what it is indicating, maybe in the coming days, the price, the Nifty 50 might be moving in a specific range. The range could be between 20,000 to 22 till 19,432. Or if it breaks, 18,646. So the movement we can see within these ranges in the coming days. Our Nifty price direction will change in case if this supply zone is violated. If the demand is very strong and push the price up, and if this supply zone is violated, then obviously the trend also will be changed from sideways to uptrend. Again, we can expect a rally. But until then, until this supply zone breaks, we can expect a range-bound market in Nifty 50 as per our daily time frame. So this is the advantage of looking for these high liquidity zones. At least they give us a fair idea what kind of market we can expect in the coming days. That's why I said we trained our eyes to identify the zones. But our eyes cannot identify the high liquidity zones. Or at least I can say every high liquidity zone cannot be identified by the human eye. Definitely we need complex software algorithms. That is what this NeoStock's algorithm identified, these high liquidity zones. Okay, before moving to the next time frame, that is 125 minutes, the point you need to observe, we have one supply zone. This is the immediate supply zone, and this next one is the immediate demand zone. So our concentration at present is between this demand and supply zones, and both these zones are high liquidity zones. Okay, now let's go back and look into 125 minutes time frame. 125 minutes is equivalent to 2 hours, almost equivalent to 2 hours. But before that, look into the daily time frame is sideways at present. So let's go back, changing the time frame to 125 minutes, and let us generate supply and demand zone chain for 125 minutes time frame. So we have 125 minutes supply demand zone chain. Okay, what is the trend for 125 minutes? It is downtrend. See here, our weekly trend is uptrend, daily trend is sideways, and now 125 minutes trend is changed to downtrend. And see the demand and supply zones here. What is the immediate supply zone? This is the one. What is the immediate demand zone? The third one is the supply zone, immediate supply zone, and the fourth one is immediate demand zone. So we have three supply zones. Okay, what way this report is useful to us? Assume price reached to this supply zone. Do you want to go for a trade? But just above that, there is a high liquidity supply zone. Due to any reason, if the supply zone violates, what happens? This supply zone, the one above, that is at the second one, that will try to push the price down. So probably we can wait until price reaches to this supply zone. Similarly, if I want to take a trade on the demand zone, this is the first demand zone, this is the second one, this is the third one, this is the fourth one. This is the high liquidity demand zone. In case if Nifty reaches to 18,736, I don't want to miss the trade. My risk is also 0.63. It is a high liquidity zone. It doesn't mean these normal demand zones doesn't work. They also, who knows, in the coming days, one of these demand zones may be converted to the high liquidity zones. Today they are normal demand zones. Maybe one of them could be changed as a or transformed as a high liquidity zone. There are some rules. As per those rules, they might change. Maybe today it is looking like a normal demand zone. So we're not underestimating these normal demand zones. But high liquidity zone, at least it will give us some guarantee. They have higher success rate. I'm not saying 100% they are successful. At least maybe 70% winning chances are there. If this demands on 50-50%, there is a probability is 50-50. 50% it can get success or 50% it will fail. But high liquidity zones, the percentage is increasing. Maybe we can say 70% it is having success rate, only 30% is the failure rate. Or maybe 80% is the success rate, or only 20% is the failure rate. That way we can, we can increase our confidence about these high liquidity zones. Okay, so before moving to the next chain, these two are immediate demand and supply zones. Just above this supply zone, we have a high liquidity supply zone. So the important point I would like to mention here is high liquidity supply zones. Definitely, it will influence our decision making. If I don't know what are all these supply zones, I blindly take a trade on the supply zone. It may work or it may not work because 50-50 chances are there. But if I know this zone is a high liquidity supply zone, I do not take trade here. Or at least if I want to take a trade, I do a deep analysis on the supply zone. But when price reaches this, at least I have some guarantee. Even though I further study in detail on the charts, but at least I have some guarantee that this high liquidity supply zone, at least once, it works. Such kind of guarantee. Okay, let's go back to 75 minutes supply demand zone chain. So I'm changing the time frame to 75 minutes for Nifty 50, generating the chain, supply demand zone chain. So this is 75 minutes supply demand zone chain for Nifty 50. Okay, what is the trend? Sideways. That means from daily, from weekly until weekly, it is uptrend. Daily it changed to sideways. 125 it went to downtrend. Now again 75 minutes the trend is changing. That means market direction is again moving towards up. It is just indicating early indication. Maybe from down 125 minutes to 75 minutes change it to sideways. So such kind of it. See, by looking into this top-down analysis, it is also giving an idea about how price direction is changing from higher time frames to lower time frames. That helps us what kind of trade we should look for, like short-term trade or medium-term trade or long-term trade or day trading. Okay, how many supply zones it is having? 4 supply zones. Fifth one is demand zone. So these two are our immediate supply and demand zones. And this is a high liquidity supply zone. Earlier, always I used to say high liquidity supply zone supports multiple tests. See, 3 times already tested this demand zone. So this 75 minutes demand zone is holding the prices. That's why Nifty during this week and last week, Nifty did not go beyond this zone low, 19,550. It couldn't go beyond this. Because this high liquidity demand zone and 75 minutes is holding the price. Okay, how many tests? 3 times it is tested this zone, and the 6 rejections this zone has given. That means price just tested the zone and the zone is pushing the price up. The moment the price is going out of the zone after it tested the zone, that is I'm considering as a rejection from the zone. And 4 times the price closed inside the zone, but it couldn't break the zone. It couldn't go below the zone. It closed, and next day probably the zone might have pushed the price up. 4 candles closed inside the zone, and it's not yet pierced. See, we got this kind of advantage by seeing this supply demand zone chain. But this is a stock specific. And what about high liquidity supply zones? We have a high liquidity supply zones here. Remember, the lower time frame high liquidity supply zones, their lifespan is less compared to the high liquidity supply zones. That one point we should remember, because time frame, lower time frames means their time frame is very small. That's why the lifespan of high liquidity zones are small for a small period. You cannot expect these zones hold for a long period. Never forget this point. Maybe your first trade, you can give importance. Second, third, they're all based on our luck. Maybe luck is not the right word, but why should we take unnecessary risk if you find fresh zones in some other stock? Okay, we have one high liquidity immediate demand zone and we have one high liquidity supply zone. It's not immediate, but the one above the immediate supply zone. This is the immediate supply zone. Just above that, we have high liquidity supply zone. We can expect it at least once, at least once. This might push the price down. It is not 100% guarantee, at least 70% guarantee we have. Because there are times high liquidity supply zones will fail. Okay, now we have seen the 75 minutes trend is changed to sideways. Let us see whether 15 minutes trend, next one is 25 minutes. 25 minutes trend is changed to uptrend or still sideways or downtrend. If it is uptrend, 25 minutes trend is uptrend, we can assume now lower time frames, slowly market is moving up direction from lower time frames. If the strength continues, then probably the 75 minutes trend also will be changed to uptrend in the coming sessions. I mean coming trading sessions. Okay, now let's go back and look into 25 minutes. Let me generate the supply demand zone chain. So 25 minutes is also sideways. 75 minutes is sideways. And daily is sideways. How many supply zones we have? 5 supply zones. These are all supply zones. And after that, demand zones. So what is the immediate demand and supply zones? Fifth and sixth. Fifth one is immediate. I'm sorry. Fourth and fifth. Fourth one is the immediate supply zone and fifth one is immediate demand zone. But the point you need to consider, the demand zone is a high liquidity demand zone, that is 25 minutes level high liquidity. But supply zone is already pierced. How many times it pierced? 2. What could be the reason? Maybe just above, because this is a supply zone, just above this supply zone, there could be a 15 minutes or 5 minutes supply zone. Might be acting as a bull trap. That we know only when we look into 15 minutes and 5 minutes time frames. We'll see. But before that, just remember these levels. 19,729. That means 19,730. Just above this. Is there any 15 minutes or 5 minutes that is pushing the price down? That we will see. Now look into this. Now you know, because I have given enough explanation. Now you know how to look for high liquidity demand zone and supply zones. Maybe you can pause the video and have a glance on these zones. Okay, now let's go back to 15 minutes and we will see just above this 19,730 if there is any supply zone that is acting as a bull trap. Let's go back and changing the time frame to 15 minutes, generating the supply demand zone chain. So we have these supply zones. This is the immediate supply zone. See, this is tested 4 times. This is high liquidity, 15-minute supply zone. And this is the one actually pushing the price down. Yes, 19,734.15. Previously, we have seen 19,730 is broken. Just 3 or 4 points above that price reached this zone. And from here, it is pushing the price down. We get more clarity on this zone probably in 5 minutes. But 15 minutes is enough. Why it is pushing the price down? Because this is a high liquidity supply zone. Already tested 4 times. This is acting as a bull trap. So whoever traded on a 25 minutes time frame, they are all might have been trapped because of this lower time frame zone. And we are able to track this zone just because of top-down analysis with the help of this supply demand zone chain. That's why this chain, demand and supply zone or supply demand zone chain is very, very important. Okay, anyway, these two are immediate demand and supply zones. And we have a high liquidity zone just below this. Now you know how to look into these high liquidity zones. You can pause the video and study these zones. That way you can plan your trade. But remember, always this column is very important, pierced column. This is helping you to identify the traps at the lower time frames. Now let's go back and look into the last time frame, that is 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Let us generate the supply demand zone chain. This is the 5 minutes supply demand zone chain for Nifty 50. See here, 5 minutes already trend is changed to up. And this is 15 minutes. For 5 minutes, intermediate time frame is 15 minutes. And higher time frame is 75 minutes. 75 minutes time frame is sideways. 25 minutes is, 15 minutes is also sideways, but 5 minutes trend is changed to up. Okay. Here where demand and immediate demand and supply zones are available. Here we have immediate demand and supply zones. This supply zone is pierced. Now just above this we have high liquidity supply zones. So we have immediate high liquidity supply zones are available. Between 19,738 to 19,717. So here a lot of supply is available. How you are identifying by seeing these high liquidity zones. So if price probably breaks these high liquidity 5-minute supply zones, probably the 15 minutes trend will be changed to uptrend. So that's why these levels are very important now. So how we identified these levels are critical as critical by seeing these immediate multiple high liquidity zones. The multiple one level above the another one. These are all LOTL zones. They are indicating us there is a lot of supply. So do we have any high liquidity demand zones at 5 minutes level? Here we have it. 19,672. Just below this, one more high liquidity. That means 19,631 to 19,672. We can expect some support in the market. That is based on the 5 minutes demand zones. I mean, 5 minutes high liquidity demand zones. Hope now you got a clarity about how exactly you need to analyze and prepare for your trades by seeing this supply demand zone chain. I'll be showing you bank nifty high liquidity, bank nifty supply demand zone chain, but I will not be giving any explanation. I will just show you the screens because I gave lot of explanation for Nifty 50. The similar way, you try to do the analysis. You pause the video, just do the analysis. Then again move on to the next time frame. Again pause the video, do your analysis. That way, if you can practice, probably you get better understanding about this supply demand zone chain, and also it will help you how exactly you need to plan for your trades based on high liquidity, demand and supply zones for different based on multiple time frames as a top-down analysis. I will try to post these Nifty and Bank Nifty videos on regular basis. If my time permits, every day I will post. But take this video because I don't want to make every video as lengthy as this video. Take this video as your reference. Any doubts are there? Come back to this video. Study whatever the explanation I have given for Nifty. Just listen my explanation and get a better idea and apply your knowledge on the other videos I will be posting in the coming days. Because I know many people are trading only in Nifty and Bank Nifty. So let me go back to previous screen and let me select the stock code Nifty Bank. This is the index data, not the futures data. So let us start with monthly. We are taking always monthly as our reference. So I'm generating a supply demand zone chain for monthly. But remember, I am not giving any explanation for Nifty Bank. You have to do it. You have to analyze on your own. This is monthly zones for Bank Nifty. Bank Nifty closing price. That is the last traded price. HTF trend is up, ITF trend is up, and LTF trend is up. Okay, now I am going back to weekly, going back and changing the time frame to weekly and generating weekly chain for Bank Nifty. Weekly is also all-time high zone. Look for high liquidity zones. How many times it is tested, how many rejections it is having, how many times it closed inside the zone. Are there any pierced zones? What is the strength of the zone based on the leg out candle? And these parameters you should know for drawing your zones on the charts. This is the leg in, base, and leg out. The zone high and zone low and the risk for your reference. As I already told you earlier, this column is very, very important because this column only tells you what are high liquidity zones, which one is high liquidity or which one is pierced and which one is normal zones. Just DZ and SZ, they are normal demand and supply zones. P underscore is pierced zone, that is low priority. And C underscore is highest priority, high liquidity zone. S underscore DZ, that is support demand zone. Or R underscore SZ, that is resistance supply zone. That is the second level highest priority. TCP underscore DZ or SZ, that is counter trend related high priority zones. Next one is a TCO underscore DZ, next priority, TCO underscore DZ or TCO underscore SZ. And the next priority high liquidity zone is a TCZ underscore DZ or TCZ underscore SZ. In between, you may find one more possible LTF TCP. Rarely you can see that high priority zone. That comes after TCP, the priority. But rarely you find, mostly at lower time frames. Okay, this is a weekly chain. Now let us generate daily chain for Bank Nifty. This is the daily chain. The first thing you should always point is from where your demand, immediate demand and supply zones are starting. Here we have two supply zones, but what is the immediate one now currently active one? This supply zone is currently active. And this demand zone is currently active, but it is pierced. So you should look for the next one when it is pierced. That way you should first look into this report. Then next step is what is the immediate available high liquidity demand zone and high liquidity supply zone. That way you have to start your study. The first one is what is the immediate demand zone and immediate supply zone. And the next point you should study what is the available immediate high liquidity demand zone, immediate available high liquidity supply zone. And second point will help you for your trade planning. So this is the daily chain Always look into the trends. LTF is always your entry. In this heading, whatever the time frame I am showing, that is the LTF. And one time frame higher is ITF. And again, next one more time frame higher is HTF. For example, if this is daily, this is going to be weekly, and this is going to be monthly. Okay, now let us generate 125 minutes supply demand zone chain. So changing the time frame to 125 minutes. So I'm generating the supply demand chain. Now I'm not commenting anything. It is you have to pause the video and you have to study. So let's go back to 75 minutes. Let us generate the supply demand zone chain. So let's go back to, you're looking to this strength null. The reason why it is showing null is maybe I would have given a hyphen or something to display, but I wantedly I kept this technical word, that is software language related word. The reason is after this is a newly formed zone probably. When it formed at 27/9/13. So there are no enough candles so far to confirm this trend. So probably the next candle or followed by the next candle will confirm the strength. Until then, because hyphen indicates there is no strength, but that is not true. Null indicates currently it's a work in progress. It is happening. Just like how it happened, and then the further candles, the software is studying. Until the next candle is ready, we cannot confirm what is the strength. So you can assume null means here it is a work in progress. After maybe next report, after one candle or two candles on this time frame, this will be strength will be confirmed. Okay, let's go back to previous screen and generate 25 minutes time frame supply demand chain. So now changing the time frame to 25 minutes, and I am generating the supply demand zone chain. This is a 25 minutes supply demand zone chain. Now let's go back, and the 15 minutes time frame, let us generate the supply demand zone chain for Nifty Bank or Bank Nifty. Remember, you have to study all these time frames. If you have any doubts, please go through the explanation I have given for Nifty 50. So I'm going back and generating the last time frame, 5 minutes, and generating the supply demand zone chain. So this is the 5 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Here we have immediate supply zone and demand zone. Okay. So this is about the, this feature, supply demand zone chain, and the most important column is zone, that tells you what are all high liquidity zones, normal demand and supply zones, and low least priority or low priority zones like PSL zones. Hope this information is useful for your further study of Nifty and Bank Nifty, because you have all the zones related to all the time frames starting from monthly until 5 minutes time frame. So if you have any specific request or any questions or any comments in the comment section, please specify your feedback. If any improvements or any new columns I need to introduce here, please let me know, because some space is available on the screen for adding at least one or two columns in case if you feel anything is required. Because I felt maximum everything what is required for an individual time frame is available on the screen. Okay, thank you all for attending this video. Hope this information is useful to you. And please let me know if this supply demand zone chain is required for Nifty and Bank Nifty on regular basis. Please let me know, because I do not know about your priorities. If you feel everyday reports required for this demand supply zone chain, please let me know in the comment section, because my time is also very critical. I have very less time is available for preparing the videos. So if you feel this is very important video, especially the supply demand zone chain is very important, and if you require on regular basis, please let me know. So based on your requirements only, I will be making these videos. Okay, thank you all and have a good day.